everyone. In this chapter, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the important concepts from Chapter 5, Section 5.3, dealing with writing expressions and equations from written statements. So we're going to focus on that, and again, sometimes people find this a little tricky. If after the explanation and the resources you're still having trouble, again, I encourage you to contact me. But let's just go through a couple of the practice problems right now. There are some simple steps that you can follow that will more or less help you as you're trying to figure out where do the numbers go, where do the letters go. It's kind of like a little puzzle that you have to figure out. So let's take a look here. When it comes to the steps for writing equations, basically you want to read the statement carefully. And this is kind of a great way to get you together when we start doing word problems. You have to really read the statement carefully. Next, you want to refer to the list that is in your textbook on page 131, and it identifies key phrases and words that can indicate to you the type of operation that the problem is calling for, how to combine the numbers. So you definitely want to make use of that list. It will definitely help you. And then we're going to go ahead, and the last step is to convert those words to numbers and the different mathematical symbols. So let's take a look at what that more or less looks like. So here's a sample problem. A number increased by 18. So let's go ahead and actually underline some of those key phrases. So we have a number. We don't know what number. So that's a pretty good indication when we see something that says a number, that's going to be our variable. That's going to be our letter. Increased, when we talk about increasing something, we're adding to it. So that gives us a clue that we're talking about addition. Finally, we have the number 18, so we have a number that we know has got to be in this equation somewhere. So we're looking at a number increased by 18. So we have a number. We don't know what that number is. I'm just going to go ahead and use the letter N. So we have N increased, which as I said before, indicates addition, and then 18. That's it. There is no solving this problem because it's an expression. Nowhere in here are we saying the word equal to. So that's something to keep in mind. Here we have 19 times W. So we have our number. The word times is an indication of what? Multiplication. So we know we have multiplication, and then we have a letter that's given to us. So we're going to multiply 19 times some number. We don't know what number. So we can set that up as 19 times W, but we don't write it that way in algebra. We write it this way. 19W means exactly the same thing. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Let's look at the next one. We have 12 less than S. So here's our letter. They're giving us our unknown. And then 12, we have another number, less than. What does less than indicate? We're talking about subtraction. So we have our variable S, okay, that we are taking 12 away from. Notice how this is phrased. 12 less than S. So we're starting out with the S and we're taking 12 away from it. So that's what that would look like. Here's another one that gets a little more complex as a few more words are put in. So we have 9 more than 2 times R. So let's take a look. What do we have here? Well, we have the number 9. We have the number 2. And we also have our R, our unknown. So let's reread this again. It's common to read these types of expressions more than once to make sure that you're setting it up correctly. So we have 9 more. So we're more than is our clue. So we know that's going to be, just so I don't forget, because this one's a little complex, I'll write my little addition sign there. I know we're adding there. 2 times r. So 2 multiplied by r. So if we're going to go ahead and set this up, we have 9 more than 2 times r. I'm going to start with the 2 times r. As you remember, we can go ahead, we write it this way in algebra. So it's 2 times r, but there's 9 more. There's 9 more than this 2 times r. So because of that, that more means we have to add 9 to it. And let's look at our last one. We have 4 times the quantity of x and 8. So we have our number 4, we have our x, our unknown, and we have 8. So one of the things this is telling us, times gives us our multiplication. But then we have this phrase, the quantity of. Quantity representing total. So we know that this is going to look like 4 times the quantity of x and 8. And it's telling us we need to add. So we have 4 times x and 8, or x plus 8. So this gives you an overview of how to write out different types of expressions and equations.